All right. Hey guys, welcome to yoga on this really, really hot day, only to get hotter next couple days. Want to welcome you. This is actually our 6th and final class of yoga. Thank you guys for all joining us this time. So for anyone who doesn't know me, I am Katie Butler, and I work with the Gaylord Sports Association as a program specialist, as well as a CTRS with our inpatients at Gaylord. So we are once again welcoming back our instructor, Rebecca. Rebecca has taught yoga for over 10 years, including private lessons, ongoing public classes, and teacher trainings. She's an ambassador for Veterans Yoga Project, teaching the techniques of mindful resilience to any and everyone. And she's been teaching yoga with us here at Gaylord since 2021. So just a few of our normal reminders. We ask you to leave your video on so we can see you and help with any questions you may have. And there are actually some in-person people in front of Rebecca, not behind. You just can't see them because I'm not recording them. But we ask you guys to just mute yourself so that you can limit background noise. But if you do have any questions or need assistance, feel free to unmute, or I'll be monitoring the chat. And please have a sturdy chair with no armrest to sit in. A few safety reminders. Remember to have water nearby, especially during this hot day. Hydrate before, during, and after. Listen to your body, know your limits. If you're experiencing any pain, nausea, dizziness, or other symptoms, stop, take a break, and evaluate if you need to stop altogether. And then proper form is important as well to avoid injury. So if you have any questions, always feel free to ask. And I'm going to turn the spotlight over to Rebecca. And Rebecca, you are good to go.
Hi, everyone. I'm just going to hit the button so that I can see all of you. Wonderful. Okay. Hello in person and at home. So glad you could join in whatever way works best for you in your life. This is our last class for this session, as Katie said. So some of the concepts that we do today will be things that we've been learning along the way. If you missed one of those concepts and you're thinking, this is weird, just go back and rewatch the recordings. You can access all of those from the Sports Association emails that go out each week. But usually at the end of a series, they all get compiled into one place anyway. So we'll make that a little easier for you. I want to thank Move United for funding us as always. Super appreciative for the support, and I got to meet some of the Move United people finally in the last year, and they're just the most amazing folks. So it's not just the financial support, it's really their community outreach and real desire to be a part of this and help us keep it going, right? Like they just keep coming back to support this programming time and time again. So thank you as always, Move United. We will sit and center and breathe and just land ourselves here wholeheartedly from wherever you may have been the rest of the day. If your mind wanders to the past or to the future, I'll give you those gentle reminders to bring it back. And anytime that you notice that that has happened, it's actually a good thing, right? Because once you notice it, you are already back in the present moment. So the good news is, as soon as you notice, there's no reason to scold yourself or say, oh, this is, or I'm not gonna. Yes, you are, because you're already back. So we talk a lot about the monkey mind, or chitta vritti in Sanskrit, the fluctuations of the mind. That's the human condition. And we're kind of hardwired to have a thought every second, right? Maybe even more than one. We will go through setting an intention. And part of the idea of setting an intention is that kind of thought replacement, right? To give our mind something to focus on, something to anchor to that is going to happen anyway. So it might as well be something that's of use to us, right? So we've been talking about sankalpa, which is a positive present tense intention. That's really your heart's intention. It's like the lifelong intention. Who are you? Not what are you and who are you to other people and what do you do each day and what's your current identity or title, but who are you, right? Like what's the essence? And that sounds like a really big question, but it's easier than you might think if you start looking at it from this yogic perspective of just being curious, being observant and asking a simple series of questions. So we're going to go over that again today to make sure that you've really got a hold on that, because even if I never see you again, I would love for you to take this idea of setting a sankalpa, setting an intention with real purpose with you into every future yoga class. Okay, no matter what the teacher encourages you to set as an intention, you will always have this sort of heart intention with you, right? So even if the intention is to be present, or gratitude, or whatever buzzword of the day is chosen, you'll always have this underlying personal intention with you. So we're going to spend a little extra time on that at the beginning. And then we'll do some gentle movements for the joints. We'll move on to some stretching postures, and then a few things that are a little bit more intense muscularly. We'll work our way back down, and we'll do some guided rest. As a gentle reminder, there is always going to be something that's not right for you today, right? There's no possible way that I could teach a class that would be 100% perfect, custom tailored to you from start to finish in my body, right? Because I have a different body than you, you have a different body than your neighbor, and our minds are all different, right? So I really encourage you to customize this class to yourself, right? Think of it like buying a suit. I'm offering you this suit off the rack, but now you get to take it to the tailor and get it perfectly fitted to your needs today, right? Not your body a year ago, not your body a year from now. You're going to the wedding today, okay? You're wearing that suit today. Fit it today, yeah? All right, it's luxurious. Soak it in, okay? So we'll come into a comfortable seat. And if you're sitting in a wheelchair and your seat is slung, that tends to kind of send the legs in towards each other a little bit. So you may even physically help move the thighs, move the flesh to get that spacing so that you feel like your sits bones, or those ischial tuberosities for my PGs and OGs in the room, I'll give you your real names, so that you feel that real equal stance and groundedness in your seat, and then out to the knees and out to the feet. Now, the cues that I'm giving for sensation may not have a physical sensation feedback, but the mind can still send the information out. So for example, if you have neuropathy or numbness of any kind, or amputation or anything like that, you can think of these cues as things that are occurring in your mind's eye, whether or not you get the feedback, right? So we're going to feed forward, maybe not feedback, but I find with most of my yoga students over time, there is feedback, no matter the case, right? It's really awesome. That's why I keep doing it. So you've got those feet, knees, and hips about equidistant, and you can lean back into the support of your chair. You can soften your gaze or even close your eyes. Notice how you're resting your arms and that they are in fact resting. You don't necessarily need to change it, but if they're far forward or uneven or awkward in any way that you'd like to adjust to help your shoulders, your chest, your back be more comfortable, intentionally choose a restful position. And as you soften your gaze or close your eyes, your awareness of your internal landscape will get bigger. You may begin to notice certain sensations within your body. And those sensations were there already, though they may seem louder or more prominent now that we're really listening to them. We're attempting to look, to watch, to observe, rather than get wrapped up in anything that comes up. So whether it's a sensation or a thought, can you imagine that sensation or that thought like a cloud in the sky or water in a stream, passing by, impermanent? Maybe here within your field of vision now, but it came from somewhere and it's continuing off on its journey, and another will come along. When we experience chronic pain or feelings of anxiety or depression or anything that feels really sticky, it's like we're standing in the stream, getting soaking wet. it can be really hard to remember that we have the ability to sit on the bank of that river, watch the water go by and dry off. So that's what the seat of the observer is. It's not silencing our mind. It's not removing pain or discomfort. It's recognizing our ability to see those things as separate from ourselves. So in that spaciousness, right, the space between you sitting on the bank of the river and the river itself is opportunity, is choice. We can choose what to focus on and what to notice. Our mind will have thoughts no matter what. And so with this space, we have the chance to pick which one will rise to the top, will float on the surface. So take a moment as you're sitting here, grounded, supported, and steady in your seat, with this internal awareness and that little bit of space, right? Just starting to grow that space, that observation. What would you like to see more of in your life? It can be something really immediate today, it can be a general theme lately, or perhaps you've worked with this idea of sankalpa before and it's already on the tip of your tongue. So we're going to refine whatever that thought is into its broader purpose or place in your life and state it in the positive present tense. So I always use this example as a quick, easy guide to what that means. Let's say a person says, I want to quit smoking. Well, I want to do something is in the future, and quit is a negative, right? It's taking something away. So we'll look at, why do you want to quit smoking? Well, I want to be healthy, right? So now it becomes, instead of I want to quit smoking, I want to be healthy. Why do you want to be healthy? I want to be present in my family life, and I want to be there for my family. And so I want to be healthy so I can be there for more of it. So now we find out that the real intention is presence. Right? So instead of I want to quit smoking, now our sankalpa is I am present. And when we operate from that space, it infects in a good way all the choices that we make in our subconscious and conscious mind. So start from wherever you are, whatever thought has come to mind, whatever it is that you'd like to see more of. And hone in on what its real meaning is for you. I've had students say things like, I'd like more money. And what they really mean is financial security. And what they really mean is to not worry. And so what they really mean is to feel safe, right? So I am safe. If you feel lost, I am where I'm supposed to be. Or simply, I am here. So we take whatever that intention is And the reason it's so important in our yoga practice is because when we're practicing yoga, we're bringing the subconscious systems of the body and the mind to the conscious level. We're looking at how we breathe. That's something that happens automatically all day long. From the moment you're born to the moment you leave, that breath is with you, whether you're guiding it or not. So when we bring that to the mind's eye and we're consciously choosing our breath, it's this really interesting in-between place, right? Where the subconscious and conscious come together. When we notice the physical support of the chair, when we notice the physical support of the chair beneath us, our mind is always registering that, whether we're thinking about it or not. But here in this moment, as we think about that, again, we're bringing the subconscious and conscious mind together. So we have the same ability to do that in our brain with our thoughts, right? To set an intention that can then seat itself, right? Plant itself in all that we do. So whatever your intention is, whether you found your way to your Sankalpa or you're heading down that path, there'll be a few more opportunities to come back to that today. We'll bring left hand towards the belly and right hand towards your heart. And if that's uncomfortable, you can do belly, belly, or heart, heart. Begin to feel the fullness of your breath traveling to both hands. So the chest and the belly rise and fall with your breath. And then imagine that your chair is acting like another set of hands. So you also have that feeling of contact in the upper back and maybe in the lower back as well. So you get the sense that your breath is a 360-degree experience, right? Like filling a barrel. It's not just to the chest and the belly, it's also to the back body, to the side body, and down into our pelvis. Everything is affected in our trunk as we breathe. Just placing your hands there can help you to feel your breath from the inside out and the outside in. On your next exhale, empty your breath all the way out, slowly and completely, so that you can inhale deeply. Again, exhaling slowly and completely, calm and steady, not rushing it, but all the way out. Get all the way to the bottom of that breath. And then let your inhale just sweep right in and fill, like you're pouring water into a pitcher. Do that again a few more times, slowly pouring the pitcher out carefully into glasses, right? Exhaling all the way out. And then inhale, a nice big rush of breath. So when we do that, we're doing a ratio breathing of inhaling for about a count of 4 and exhaling for about a count of 6 or even 7 or 8. That's a great place to be. It activates what's called your parasympathetic nervous system, or rest and digest mode, you've probably heard it called. And it increases this fancy thing that controls so much of our body called vagal tone. It improves our heart rate variability. And if you want to nerd out on that with me, I'd love to anytime. So again, nice big sweeping inhales, slow, steady, complete exhales. As you maintain that big, deep, steady breath, check in with your forehead, the corners of your eyes, your jaw, even your tongue. Is there any tension there you can let go of just by noticing it? In other words, stepping out of the water. Right? We don't have to be soaking wet. We can let go of some of that tension that we tend to carry without even noticing. Likewise, do the same for your shoulders, even the way you're holding your arms, your hands, your belly, your hips, your knees, your ankles, your feet. Is there any place where you're doing more work than you need to? Rewiring to be able to breathe deeply without any other effort that we don't need. Keep that deep breath going and bring both hands to the heart if you can. You can go palm over palm and feel the warmth of your own hands against your body. Or you can press palm to palm, heart center or prayer hands. And as you're here, give yourself a little boost of posture, sitting up a little taller. If you were slumping back, maybe powering up now to root down through your seat, rise up through your crown. Notice if your head is jutting forward, if you're rounding your back at all, can you find that imaginary headrest behind you or the imaginary wall behind you to bring your shoulder blades and the back of your head on that wall. And then from there, very slightly, draw your chin down towards your chest, nodding your forehead towards your fingertips, just a little bit, this kind of internal gaze. And for the next 3 breaths, imagine that you could hear yourself saying your intention on your breath, like it was a whisper, on the tip of your tongue, on the front of your mind, riding the breath. Perhaps it's an I am statement. And on your next inhale, you can gently open your eyes, release your hands to your lap. Nice. And welcome back that visual space. Good. So with that tall spine, if you can, with that tall posture, we'll bring chin towards chest, making sure that it's really just the head and neck that are working. And then you're going to start to tip your right ear towards your right shoulder, and I'm going to mirror you. So I am, in fact, doing the opposite of what I'm saying. That's on purpose. So it's like you're looking in the mirror. And then we'll bring again chin to chest and left ear towards your left shoulder. Good. We'll do that a couple more times. If any particular spot felt sticky for you or a little tender, I recommend staying in that spot and taking 2 or 3 big breaths there, using your breath kind of like an internal massage for erasing, like a magic eraser, erasing some of that tension. And so you're moving in your own pace. And if a full circle is appealing to you, you can make one. But for a lot of us, looking that far up from this circular perspective creates a whole lot of popcorn and maybe doesn't feel the best. So you're going to choose for yourself. If you're enjoying some full circles, you can keep on going with that. If a circle is not right for you, then you might move on to a gentle nod. Yes. Yes, I love yoga. Yes. And again, you might continue with those circles, switching directions at any time. Or if you're doing some nods now, perhaps nodding side to side, AKA no. And gathering information, right? Being the observer. So even if something doesn't feel super great, observing it rather than judging it. And then we'll come back into the center, do a few shoulder circles. And if a full circle doesn't feel so good, if you have some injuries there, you may just shrug up and down gently, whatever space is available. Good. And then we'll take our arms out into kind of a W shape. Now that might be in front of you or it might be a bit lower down, but if you can, we'll take it out to the side. Watch that the fingertips aren't leading the way, right? But the whole back of the wrist. So a lot of us have these kind of texting positions. And when that happens, you would think like, oh, but it's just my wrist, Rebecca. What's the big deal? It's never just your wrist. When this happens, it all starts to come together. So we want to think of leading from the back of the wrist, and you'll feel a little more pull to the chest, a little more strength to the back of the shoulders, those rear delts, a little more strength to the rhomboids. That's the upper back muscles between your shoulder blades, your trapezius, that nice big sheet of muscle across your upper back. And for many of us who lead this very forward linear life where we're typing, we're texting, we're eating, we're driving, just this can be pretty tiring, right? If it's not, go ahead and float the elbows a little higher if you like, from the wrist, not the fingertip. Hint. Good. And if it's exhausting, take a break, right? Good, one more breath there. And then we'll relax by giving ourselves a hug. And while you're taking that hug, we'll kind of lean a little bit side to side, keeping the seat, the weight in your seat, in your tushy, even. And so you'll use some core strength to maintain that. And then maybe even circling if that feels good for you. And if not, can keep it to a more mild shape, right? Using up whatever space you have. Good. We'll switch directions if you're circling. So we're thinking about moving through the upper back and maybe into the thoracic spine, the mid back. Good. And we'll find center again when you're feeling even. Find that W one more time. If it feels good for you to go a little higher, please do. And again, we're looking at the back of the wrist there. Imagine that you were at the wall. Could you put the wrist, the knuckles, the fingertips, fingernails rather, and the whole back of the arm on that wall? So you can visually look and see, is my arm where I imagine it to be? Oftentimes, no. So interesting, right? It's not that far away from our brain, and yet mind of its own. If and only if your shoulders say it's a good idea, we'll go ahead and reach up this time and let the arms lace overhead, right? If that's a horrible idea, I'm filled with them. There'll be more. Go ahead and cross at your chest instead. And we're going to do those circles here again. So you can do it at the chest, right? Or you might be doing it with the arms up a little higher. Your circle will likely be a little bit smaller, and you'll start to feel this stretch. If you are going overhead, you'll feel it even more significantly into the sides of your ribs and your waist. You're gonna get a really nice stretch. And just like those head circles we did before, if you find a spot where you're like, oh yeah, I need that, stay there. Okay? You don't have to stay with me. The good news is I'm in my chair. I'm not going anywhere. I promise you'll find me. You'll catch up. Right? Even if you do your own thing for the next 20 minutes, I'll still be right here and you'll find me. Chris is making music for us with his 1,800 keys around his neck. If you hear the jingle at home, that's what it is. Good, we'll find the center, sit up nice and tall, maybe even leaning your head towards the sun, soaking up those nice warm rays we got today. And we'll let that go. Good, you can find the edge of your chair, or if you're using a wheelchair, you can find the armrests themselves. And we'll inhale, lift the chest and lift your gaze, taking a bit of a back bend or imagining one. What would it feel like to do it? And then exhale and curl, round, tuck. You can let your chin drop towards your chest. So to my regulars, I'm sorry to be a broken record, but I'm going to go ahead and tell some of our new faces about one of my favorite studies about the soccer players. So there's this awesome study. Could take one last one there, and then you can sit nice and tall. There's this awesome study of soccer players where they rigged up their brains and they asked them to imagine kicking a soccer ball and then kick the soccer ball. And the brains looked almost identical, which is to say, if you imagine yourself doing something, your brain does not know the difference. Yeah, so we can imagine any of these shapes and movements if we want to, right? Even if the physical movement itself isn't occurring, and you can still 100% participate in your brain, right? Your brain, a neuroscientist could barely tell the difference between the scans. So that's good enough for me, right? Good enough for government work. So we're going to take both hands either to the armrest there on the right hand side if you're using an armrest, or if you've got your chair, it might be easier to reach your leg or to the chair, depending on kind of what height chair you've got, what height body you've got. So you're going to find which one feels best for you. Good. So we're taking this very mild twist. Inhale, sit up nice and tall. And then as you exhale, maybe you want to head in that direction a little bit more. We don't want to round to get there or jut our heads to get there. So just like you did when you were sitting in the center, what if you could press your head into that imaginary headrest? So your head isn't trying to pull you into the twist, it's coming along for the ride. Good, we'll ease out of that and simply take it over to the other side. Armrest, leg, or chair. Inhale, sit up nice and tall once you find that spot. And then exhale, maybe you're looking there. Maybe you're twisting. You're not looking for a chiropractic adjustment. Just some range of motion. And we'll come back into the center. We're going to do that